What's up, everybody? So I'm gonna do something a little different and not talk about movies or comics for once. Somebody asked me why I haven't done any like martial arts or boxing topic videos, so here it is. So I figured what I want to talk about is a thought I had about why is it that UFC, as popular as it is, arguably more popular than boxing right now, it's the go-to fight sport. Why is it struggling to reach that household name level and draw for like the average person like boxing did in its prime? And I'll tell you why I think so, in my opinion. First thing I want to say is I love both sports, so in no way am I biased towards one or the other. I mean, anybody who knows me knows I'm a boxer first, but I love the UFC as well. And problem is that basically, and it stems into why people give Dana White a lot of flack for like over marketing and over hyping fighters, but the problem is that due to the nature of mixed martial arts and UFC, it's hard to have an established face of the brand at any point in time to bring people in. So let's expand on that. So boxing and its history, if you look at the historic fights in boxing, even people that don't even watch boxing know about Ali, Frazier, and Hagler, and Duran, and Tyson, and like these are household names. These are names that people who don't even watch the sport know, and these are historic events. Like even Pacquiao and Mayweather, as shitty as that fight was, that was an event. Like everybody saw that, and everybody knows what happened in that fight. And the reason being is because boxing has time to establish these legends and these people with this level of popularity. So like, again, Tyson, Douglas, and Holyfield Tyson, like these are events. These are things that you mention and you just automatically think of it. You know who won, you know how the fight went down, and UFC just doesn't have that. And the reason being is because the nature of the sport. So like there's no such thing as the perfect fighter in UFC, and there never will be. So there's too many variables. You're a striker, you're a boxer, you're a kicker, you're a grappler, you're a Thai fighter. All the greatest fighters and the champions are always going to have some hole in their game to exploit because there's too many variables. So if we take like let's say Mayweather for example, Mayweather is a defensive genius. He's one of the fastest fighters. He's got great footwork. Say what you will about him, the guy is amazing. And there's only like maybe one or two ways that anybody could possibly beat him. Nobody's going to outbox him. So you're either going to overpower him somehow or outpace him, which nobody can do. And nobody's been able to do that so far. And he's as well-rounded a fighter as you're going to get currently. And that's why he's still undefeated, because his game is on point. Then you have like, let's say Ronda Rousey. I love Ronda Rousey. And I understand why she was so heartbroken and why she felt suicidal when she lost because Dana White needed to have a face of the brand to make a household name to bring people in, and that was as close as he's ever gotten, honestly, even more than Brock Lesnar and all these people, because he had his little shine coming off the WWE, and he had the wrestling fans, but that didn't last long. Ronda Rousey was the face of UFC for a while, and arguably, she still is popular, but she's not the face anymore. He took her little undefeated streak and he tried to milk it and do as much as he can with it to make UFC more of a household thing. Now the problem with her was, I love Ronda to death. That's my girl. Anybody who knows me knows that. But she had a lot of holes in her game. She was an amazing grappler. If you get on the ground with her, you're done. If she hip tosses you, you're done. But she doesn't kick. I mean, she doesn't kick. Period. She never kicks in her matches. She has poor striking defense. She charges straight in. She has barely any lateral movement. She's just a locomotive. She comes charging in, she grabs you, she throws you down, and then maybe she'll win that way. And any fighter is gonna see like, wait a minute, I just got to keep her away. And Holly Holmes came in, who's a better striker, better kicker, knew how to use the distance. Somebody was gonna exploit that hole at some point. And then Holly Holm, she's an amazing kicker, amazing striker, but she's got no ground game. That was exploited. Conor McGregor, amazing striker, but he got taken to the ground, he got tapped out. So that's the struggle with the sport because there's so many variables now. I'm not taking anything away from anybody, but there's no possible way that any person is going to be that good at everything. You're never going to have the perfect kicker, boxer, striker combination with an amazing grappler. Like there's people who are pretty well rounded, but there's always, somebody who's a little bit better at one or another. So there's always going to be the grappler who can beat the striker or the striker who can beat the grappler by keeping them away. And I honestly don't think we're ever going to see somebody that good that's going to keep the sport, that's going to be the face of the sport to keep it in the spotlight. Like we've almost had a couple, and then even older fans know GSP, but he's not a household name among the regular person. Like Ronda Rousey was a household name, is a household name, even currently, and Conor McGregor got super skyrocketed into fame with all his interviews and TV appearances, just because they had to start making another star and another face. Same thing with Holly Holm, and that's what Dana White is trying to achieve. In my opinion, anyway, that you need a face of the sport. You need to establish legends like that to bring people in that even the average fan is going to watch, and that's the problem. Right? It's never going to happen. I mean, I don't think you're ever going to see somebody with a streak long enough or that's established enough that's going to do it. Part of the reason why Ronda Rousey was so big is because she was a female also, so she's a pioneer, and I take nothing away from her. Even though with the hole in her game, she was a female, the first female to get signed to UFC. She was the face of the sport. She sold more pay-per-views than men. She was main eventing a male-dominated sport. So Ronda is a legend in my opinion for what she accomplished. But we'll see what happens when she comes back. But ultimately, that's it is what it is. So yes, UFC is a more popular sport, but it's again for it to be a household thing and for it to reach the peak where boxing was at boxing's peak. It's gonna be, I don't know, it's gonna be hard for it to reach that point. So, that's just my opinion. I just wanted to talk on that. So let me know what you think about it. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Later, y'all.